Good morning, everyone. Welcome to class today. Today we're going to discuss how to write analytical paragraphs. Since next week we will start essay number 2. If you look at the agenda for today, you can see we're doing 2 different types of writings. For our academic notes, we're going to again write a summary paragraph, and then I will walk you through how to construct an introductory paragraph and a body paragraph for an analytical essay. So for your academic notes, if you will get your yellow papers out, please. To review how to write summaries, I've included an article written by a professor at one of the universities in Oregon. If you will click on the link on this slide to his essay, read what he has written, and then summarize what he has written in 5 sentences in your academic notes. So pause the video to do that, and then come back. All right, so after you have reviewed what makes a good summary paragraph, you can also refer to your yellow handout that we annotated extensively in class, along with your 30 Little Turtles sample summary paragraph that you've already written. Today, for your summary paragraph, we're going to use an ebook by a well-known writer. Her name's Anne Lamott. Her book is entitled Bird by Bird. The book is about strategies for writing better. And so if you click on the link on this slide to her ebook, it will take you to the table of contents. In the table of contents, pick a subtopic that interests you that deals with writing. I'd like you to read that chapter, and then you're going to write and type and print a summary paragraph about the chapter that you read. Remember, for summary writings, you also have to include a citation. So since we have not discussed citations yet so far in the class, I've actually cited the book for you in the teacher notes on this slide. So for our lesson today, I want to introduce you how to write analytically. As your homework assignment for last time, I asked you to read over Abraham Lincoln's second inaugural address and make a list of 10 things that Lincoln did well in his speech. So if I were to use his speech as a basis for a rhetorical analysis, I would have to figure out how to start that essay. And to start it, you need a little bit of background information. So what I did is I researched a little bit about his essay, at his speech, and I constructed 2 sentences. The black sentence sample that I've written, along with the purple one, that could be good context information about his second inaugural address. Then from there, I would want to transition into a solid rhetorical analysis thesis sentence that answers the questions what, why, and how. So I put together one for you. So if you follow along in the red, where it says, Lincoln wields his powerful rhetoric of the taxing impact of war to both his northern and southern audiences. That part is the what of the assignment. What was the essay about? Then I'm going to transfer into the why. And a simple way to do that is to use these 3 words, in order to. They seem like simple words, but anytime you use them in a sentence, it forces you after those 3 words to answer the question why. So why did he write that for that audience? In order to start the healing process of a nation. So now my thesis so far has the what and the why. So now I want to add a how. I could add and make the sentence longer, but I decided to break it into 2 sentences total. So now this is the how. How did he achieve that purpose? Lincoln achieves his purpose successfully by relying on ethos and pathos while delicately tying it together with a poetic style. So you can see that I picked out 3 things that Lincoln did well in his inauguration address that would help me organize the content of the body of my paper if I were to write one on that topic. So with that in mind, you guys are going to practice writing or following along as I show you how to write both a introductory and a body paragraph for an article. So in your unit packet, there is an article that I read about 10 years ago. It was written by Rick Riley, who is an amazing journalist who has worked for both ESPN and Sports Illustrated. About 10 years ago, Jimmer Fredette was a basketball player at BYU and having an extremely successful year. While he was at BYU that year, he was doing such crazy things, good things, that the nation did a spin-off of his name and started talking about Jimmer Mania. Eventually, Jimmer was awarded the NCAA Basketball Player of the Year and received a lot of other awards as well. So he was getting a whole bunch of hype throughout the season for his spectacular plays. So when BYU was sent to the NCAA tournament in March, Rick Riley decided to go cover the it was the 3rd round of the tournament when BYU made it into the Sweet 16. So he goes to New Orleans, where Jimmer and BYU are up against one of the colleges from Florida. And BYU ends up losing in overtime to Florida. So Riley decides to take a negative spin on Jimmer Mania and wrote an article entitled Jimmer Grows Dimmer and published that article in Sports Illustrated. I put that article in your packet, and I'd like you to pause the video for just a few minutes and go to the packet and read Rick Riley's article. So now if I were to write a rhetorical analysis on that article, I would have to decide as a writer, what angle do I want to take? Because I'm not writing whether or not I agree with him. I'm writing whether or not Rick Riley's ideas in the article work for his intended audience. So I decided to take a negative approach to it, or the opposite approach that said that what he wrote was ineffective, even though I actually love his writing. So to do that, I would have to know some background about Jimmer, and I've already provided some for you. So then to construct an introductory paragraph, I would need to know a little bit about him. So on this slide, I've put a bunch of background details that would help you with the context of Rick Riley and the Jimmer Mania that was going on in March of that year. To construct and so I would weave some of the background into my introductory paragraph. And then when I moved to my thesis, one of the things that I could do, or you could do, is follow this recipe that I've included for you. To me, this is the most important slide in the whole presentation today, because I've actually told you how to write a thesis sentence for a rhetorical analysis essay. And it's in the bullet where the second bullet down, it says, here's a recipe format for a thesis for a rhetorical analysis. So the parts in parentheses, you would substitute information in and then use the verbs or the prepositions that I have included to complete the sentence. So by substituting some context in or some words into that sentence, I came up with a thesis sentence like this one. Rick Riley's use of condescending tone, out of context information, and logical fallacies ineffectively convinces college basketball fans that Jimmer is an overrated player. Once I have that thesis in place, I really have enough content from the essay and my own analysis to write a really long paper on why this essay didn't work for the intended audience. If you'll notice, when I put together the thesis, I said that there were 3 major flaws with his essay. I said the condescending tone, out of context information, and logical fallacies. That's how I would organize the body of my paper. So I'd start looking back in the essay of examples of condescending tone, and I could find a lot of them. So I put together one body paragraph here that deals with this condescending tone. And I'd like you to pause the video and read it so you can get a feel for how to discuss articles in an academic, I know what I'm talking about way without saying the word I. So I start with the topic sentence. I pull an actual condescending message from the article, the way he began his article, as my evidence, my quote. And then after that, the majority of this paragraph is my thoughts about it without saying why. My thoughts about the way he began starts on line 6, where Riley says, Riley's opening comments, specifically saw it for myself, imply that his opinion matters above everyone else's. And then I continue to explain my thoughts about that, why that was a bad choice for beginning his essay. And then I could find another condescending tone example and another one, and pretty soon I have several body paragraphs put together to start this practice essay. In class, we didn't go over conclusions today. We're going to cover that a little bit more next class period, but you can use this slide to see how to write a conclusion. Another thing that I want to point out to each of you is that there's a handout right before the Jimmer article that BYU put together for their beginning writing courses that actually walks you through the process from start to finish of how to write a rhetorical analysis essay. We'll refer to it. It's in Canvas today. It's in your packet. It's a really good tool for you anytime you have to write rhetorical analysis assignments. So your homework, for, in addition to the summary paragraph that we started in your academic notes, is to go back to your packet of resources. You'll notice right after the Jimmer article, I have quite a few essays about 9/11. They were written in various years. One of them was written a couple of days after 9/11. One was on the 1st year anniversary. One was on the 10th year anniversary, and a couple of them were written more recently. Anyway, I'd like you to pick one of those essays that deal with 9/11. And as you are reading it, I want you to think about this second box here. What are we learning about the writer? Who is this essay written for? What was the writer's purpose? And what bag of tricks or rhetorical tools did the writer use to make the essay work for the audience or not work? And once you figure that out, then you're going to construct a thesis using the slide number 9 in this PowerPoint. Teach you how to do that. Then you're going to write an opening paragraph for your 9/11 article in a rhetorical analysis style using paragraph or slide number 5, and then a one body paragraph using slide number 11. So actually it's a practice or an attempt at writing rhetorical analysis before we get to the points of writing your own. So that's our lesson for today. I hope this helps. If you have any questions, get in touch with me. Thank you.